Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm your host, and I'm sitting here with our strategy expert to unpack something that I think is going to change how you look at your next vacation.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, this is a big one.
It really is. Because, there's this really romantic idea of the old school hospitality manager,
Oh, I know exactly the image you mean.
right? Like, I'm picturing a guy in a crisp linen suit standing in the lobby of some grand European hotel. He knows every regular by name. He smells the rain coming and tells the staff to put out umbrellas.
And he sets the room rates based on his gut feeling about the upcoming season.
Exactly. It's managerial intuition as an art form.
It's a beautiful image. It's also a fantastic way to go completely bankrupt in today's market.
Man, that is the cold splash of water we need to start with, I think.
It's true, though, because while that manager is checking the barometer, his actual competition isn't the hotel across the street anymore. It's an algorithm.
Running on a server farm in a completely different time zone.
Precisely. The landscape has shifted from a physical battle for location to a digital battle for prediction. Today, we are unpacking a really fascinating source. It's called the Intelligent Advantage AI Strategy in Hospitality and Tourism.
And before anyone listening tunes out thinking, oh, great, another deep dive about installing chatbots or robot bellhops.
Please, no robot bellhop.
Yeah, we've covered that hype cycle enough.
We weren't doing hype today. We are looking at a fundamental restructuring of how businesses compete. The core mission of this source is showing the shift from intuition-bound decision-making to AI-driven strategic management.
Right, so it's not just a software upgrade.
No, it's a brain transplant for the entire organization.
Brain transplant is a really vivid way to put it.
Mhm.
But I want to challenge that for a second because we've had revenue management systems for, 20 years?
Yeah,
Airlines have been doing dynamic pricing since the 80s.
they have, yeah.
So why is this source claiming there's a quote-unquote new logic of competition right now? What's actually different?
That is the million-dollar question. You're right, dynamic pricing isn't new. But traditional strategy, the stuff we all learned in business school, like Porter's Five Forces, it was built for a world of friction.
Meaning things took time to happen.
Exactly. It assumed competitive moves took time. If a major chain launched a new loyalty program, their rival had months to analyze it, have meetings, and respond.
It was turn-based strategy, like playing chess.
Perfect analogy. But AI collapses that timeline completely. We aren't playing chess anymore. We're playing a first-person shooter where the map changes every 10 seconds.
The velocity is just totally different.
The new logic is all about velocity. It's about the loop between sensing a change and acting on it becoming basically instantaneous.
Okay, give me a concrete example of this speed.
Wow.
Because instantaneous sounds great in a boardroom slide deck, but how does it manifest in the messy reality of running a hotel or an airline?
All right, let's look at pricing again, but through this new lens. In the old model, or even the semi-modern model, a revenue manager might look at a report on Tuesday morning.
Right, sipping their coffee, going over the spreadsheets.
Exactly. They see bookings are soft for next month. They decide to drop rates by 10%. They upload the new rates to the system. And by Wednesday, the market reacts.
Sure, that's the standard workflow.
Now, compare that to an AI-driven platform competitor. Let's say a Meiju concert is announced in a city at 2 p.m.
Okay.
Before a human manager even sees the press release, the algorithm detects a spike in search velocity for that city on social media and flight aggregator.
So it's reading the web traffic in real time.
Yes. And it correlates that with historical data on similar events. By 1 p.m., the algorithm has already adjusted the yield curve, raised prices for those specific dates, and maybe even triggered a targeted ad campaign.
Targeted at the people searching for the concert tickets.
Exactly.
So by the time the human manager gets back from lunch, the opportunity is already captured by the competitor, and the market has moved on.
The human manager is bringing a knife to a nuclear fight. The logic has shifted from analyze then act to sense and respond. And it's not just the speed either, it's the granularity.
This gets into the segmentation issue, right? I feel like personalization is probably the most abused buzzword in the entire industry.
Oh, without a doubt.
Like getting an email that says, "Dear first name, enjoy your stay."
Yeah, that's not personalization, that's just a mail merge. The source makes a really sharp distinction between broad segmentation, which is putting people into buckets like business, versus leisure
Right.
and individual level inference.
But how deep can you actually go with that without crossing the line into being creepy?
It's all about utility for the guest. Think about the bleisure trend. Business plus leisure. A traditional system sees a booking for Tuesday through Thursday and tags it as business.
Makes sense.
And a booking for Friday and Saturday is tagged leisure. But what about the guest who books Wednesday to Sunday?
The system breaks down. Doesn't know which box to check.
Right. But an AI model looks at the behavioral signals. It sees you booked a single room for the first 2 nights, but you lingered on the family activities page for the weekend portion of the dates.
Oh, wow. So it's tracking the actual browsing behavior.
Exactly. It infers you're bringing the family down after your meetings wrap up. It doesn't put you in a bucket. It creates a strategy specifically for you.
Like suggesting a room upgrade that separates the workspace from the sleeping space.
Yes. That is the difference between servicing a segment and optimizing an experience.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
It's treating the customer as a dynamic variable, not just a static profile.
Yeah.
But this requires a level of integration that, most companies just don't have. Half the hotels I stay at can't even match my loyalty number to my reservation if I book through the third party.
And that leads us perfectly to the core framework of the source. The authors argue that you can't just buy AI to fix these disjointed systems. You need to build your strategy across 3 specific dimensions.
And if you miss one, the whole thing falls apart.
Completely.
All right, let's walk the listeners through these. Dimension 1 is strategic sensing.
Right. So most companies are stuck in operational sensing. They know exactly what happened yesterday. Strategic sensing is about detecting the weak signals of tomorrow.
Weak signals sounds a bit mystical. What does that actually look like in the raw data?
It's about looking outside your own walls. A great example from the text is using unstructured data to predict demand shifts. A traditional hotel looks at its own internal booking pace.
How many rooms did we sell today versus this day last year?
Exactly. But a sensing organization is scraping data from flight searches, local event permits, even weather patterns, and macroeconomic indicators.
So they're looking for the ripple before the wave even forms.
That's a great way to put it. Imagine a luxury resort in the Caribbean. Traditional forecasting looks at last year's occupancy. Strategic sensing notices that a competitor in the Maldives just raised their prices by 30%.
Or maybe there's a sudden spike in negative sentiment about a specific airline route that feeds your competitor.
Exactly. It detects a shift in the market structure before it ever hits your ledger.
It's essentially an early warning radar system.
Yes. But radar is totally useless if you don't know what to do with the blip on the screen. Which brings us to dimension 2, strategic decision intelligence.
This is the part that sounds the most dangerous to me, honestly. We're talking about letting machines make high-stakes business decisions.
It's not about abdicating the decision, though. It's about probabilistic precision. Let's take capacity allocation. This is the beating heart of hospitality. You have a fixed number of rooms or airline seats.
Right, and once the night is over or the flight takes off, that inventory spoils. It's gone forever.
The most perishable commodity on Earth. The old way to manage this was intuition backed by spreadsheets. A manager says, let's hold back 10 rooms for high-paying last-minute guests.
Based on a hunch.
Right. Strategic decision intelligence runs millions of simulations instead. It says, given the weather, the competitor's pricing, and the current search volume, there is an 82% probability we can sell these rooms at $400.
But only a 12% probability at $450.
Exactly. So it turns a guess into a calculated bet.
It turns gambling into investing, basically.
That's exactly it. And it removes the cognitive bias of the manager. You know, managers often hold on to rooms way too long because they are optimistic.
Or they dump them too early because they panic.
Right. The AI doesn't have an ego. It doesn't panic. It just plays the odds.
But doesn't that strip the soul out of the business? If every decision is just a math problem, where is the actual vision of the leader?
That is where dimension 3 comes in, and this is crucial. Strategic adaptation. This is the hardest one of the 3. Sensing and decision intelligence are operational. Adaptation is existential.
Existential how?
It's the ability to actually change the business model based on what the AI is telling you. The source uses the example of how demand patterns shift permanently.
Okay.
Let's say your AI sensing detects that your business center usage is dropping to absolute 0, but your lobby bar usage during the day is skyrocketing because everyone is working remotely now.
The coffee shopification of the hotel lobby.
Exactly. A rigid strategy says, we are a business hotel, we must keep the business center. A strategic adaptation approach says the data proves the value proposition has changed.
So tear down the business center.
Tear it down, expand the lobby, install better Wi-Fi, and change the food and beverage menu to cater to co-working.
So the strategy isn't just a PDF you write in January and ignore until December. It's a living organism.
Ideally, yes. But this is where we hit a massive wall in the industry. The source talks extensively about the gap and the asymmetry, because of what we just described, this fluid, high-speed, three-dimensional strategy, who is actually executing this?
The big guys, the tech giants.
The haves, the global chains, sure, but even more so the online travel agencies and the platform intermediaries, Booking.com, Expedia, Airbnb.
Because they were born in data.
Right, they don't have legacy mindset issues.
And what about the have-nots?
The independent hotels, the smaller chains, traditional tour operators, they are suffering from what the authors call the insight-poor paradox.
I love that term from the reading. Data rich, but insight poor.
It's tragic, really. Think about it. A modern hotel generates terabytes of data. Door locks, HVAC sensors, point-of-sale systems, property management systems, guest reviews.
They are completely drowning in data.
But they can't connect it. The property management system doesn't talk to the CRM. And the CRM doesn't talk to the revenue management system.
So they have all the puzzle pieces, but they're in different boxes and half the corner pieces are missing.
And while they're spending years trying to figure out how to integrate their software, the platform competitors are eating their lunch.
Blurring the boundaries of the industry.
Exactly. The platforms have the strategic asymmetry. They know the customer better than the hotel does because they see the whole travel journey, not just the stay.
This feels like a massive failure of education, too. I have an MBA. We did case studies on airline pricing from the 1990s. We definitely did not learn about API integration or neural networks.
That is the educational gap the source highlights perfectly. We have a total bifurcation. On one side, hospitality management programs teaching high-touch service and old-school finance.
And on the other side, data science boot camps teaching Python and TensorFlow.
And never the twain shall meet. We are churning out strategists who don't understand the tools and data scientists who don't understand the industry context.
So the intelligent advantage really belongs to the rare hybrids who can bridge that gap. The manager who understands why the algorithm is recommending a price hike, not just how to click the approve button.
Exactly. Which brings us to the human element. Because whenever we talk about this, the immediate fear is job loss. People say the AI is better at pricing, it's better at forecasting, it's better at personalization. Why do you need me?
Right. The robots are coming for our jobs.
But the source is actually very optimistic here, though it's a bit of a tough love kind of optimism. It argues that AI doesn't replace the manager, it elevates the manager.
Elevates them how?
Well, there's a catch. It eliminates the mediocre manager.
Ouch. Define mediocre in this context for the listeners.
The manager who spends 30 hours a week compiling Excel spreadsheets and 10 hours reacting to operational fires. If the AI handles the forecasting, the reporting, and the routine optimization, that 30 hours is given back to the human.
So the fundamental question becomes, what do you do with that recovered time?
Precisely. The role shifts upward to judgment, interpretation, and governance.
Governance is a great word for it.
Let's go back to that pricing example. The AI says raise rates by 500% because there's a hurricane coming and people are desperate for shelter.
Okay, purely mathematically, demand is through the roof, supply is constrained. The algorithm sees a massive profit maximization opportunity.
Correct. But the human manager, the governor of the system, steps in and says, absolutely not, that is price gouging.
We will destroy our brand reputation and likely face legal action. Override.
Exactly. So the human provides the conscience.
The conscience and the broader context. AI is brilliant at correlation, but it's terrible at causality and ethics. It doesn't understand reputation or trust as variables unless you explicitly program them.
Which is incredibly hard to quantify.
The human leader has to be the guardrail. This touches on something we see constantly in tech, the black box problem.
Oh, yeah.
If the system makes a decision that loses $1 million or deeply offends a VIP guest, and the manager says, I don't know why it did, that the computer said, so that manager is finished.
That is the ultimate definition of strategic failure. You cannot outsource accountability to an algorithm. The source calls for gray box systems.
Gray box meaning you can see inside a little bit.
Right, where the AI explains its logic, but the human makes the final call on the high-stakes moves.
So we're looking for a pilot and co-pilot relationship, not an autopilot and passenger relationship.
That's the perfect analogy. And this brings us to the real risks. We talked about gouging, but what about the risk of strategic overdependence?
Meaning we literally forget how to fly the plane.
Yes. If you rely entirely on the algorithm for 5 years and suddenly the market shifts in a way the historical data didn't predict at all.
Say a global pandemic that renders all prior data completely useless.
Exactly. Do you still have the intuition to steer the ship when the instruments fail?
We saw that firsthand in 2020. The algorithms just broke.
Mm.
They were predicting occupancy based on 2019 pacing, and the reality was zero.
And the managers who'd completely outsourced their brains to the software were paralyzed. They didn't know what to do.
But the ones who understood the fundamentals were able to manually override the systems and adapt.
That's why the intelligent advantage is a hybrid state. It's algorithmic precision plus human creativity.
I want to circle back to the listener for a second. We have people listening who run 20-room boutique hotels. We have people at major international airlines and people who are just interested in business strategy. If they were sitting there thinking, I can't afford a team of Stanford data scientists, what is the core takeaway for them?
The takeaway isn't that you need to build your own custom AI from scratch. It's that you need to stop viewing technology as just an IT function and start viewing it as core strategy.
Even if you're a small operator.
Especially if you're a small operator. You already have data. You have guest histories. You have website traffic patterns.
So the advice is to start small.
Start with the business problem, not the shiny tool. Don't walk into a meeting and say, we need AI. Say we have a problem with predicting weekend cancellations.
And then look for a targeted tool that solves that specific sensing problem.
Exactly. It's about asking better questions. Better questions lead to better prompts, which lead to better strategic answers. In fact, the source poses 3 really provocative questions for leaders to ask themselves.
Oh, I remember these. Let's definitely leave the listeners with these to chew on. What's the first one?
The first one challenges the pure efficiency mindset. It asks, where does automation enhance the guest experience, and where does it erode it?
That is the critical line. It's the difference between a seamless mobile check-in, which everyone loves, and a clunky lobby kiosk that doesn't scan your passport, which everyone hates.
Exactly. Automation should remove friction, not human connection. If you automate the warm welcome you've lost, if you automate the tedious paperwork you've won.
What's the second question from the text?
How do we balance scale with authenticity?
Man, that's the holy grail, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you use AI to be authentic at a massive scale?
We talked about that segment of one earlier. If the AI helps your front desk remember that a returning guest prefers sparkling water over still that feels authentic.
But if it sends them a generic birthday email on the wrong date because of a database glitch, it feels like a robot failing.
The margin for error is razor thin when you try to scale authenticity.
What's the final question?
What new forms of competitive advantage emerge when data becomes a core strategic asset?
This is the real big picture thought. It really implies that the product isn't just the hotel bed or the airline seat anymore.
No, the product is the prediction. The organization that learns the fastest wins. If you can learn what your customer wants just 1 day faster than your competitor, you own that relationship.
The organization that learns fastest wins. I really like that. It takes us away from all the technical specs and brings it right back to the culture of the company.
It's always about culture in the end.
Yeah.
You can buy the exact same software suite as the Ritz-Carlton, but you cannot buy their culture of using that information to actually delight the guest. That has to be built from the inside out.
So to wrap this deep dive up, the old school manager with the gut instinct isn't dead, but he desperately needs a data upgrade.
Very much so.
The new school strategy is about sensing, deciding, and adapting in real time. And the winner is the one who can let the machine do the heavy math while the human keeps the heart and the ethics intact.
That is a perfect summation. Trust the data, but always keep your hands on the wheel.
This has been a truly fascinating look under the hood of the industry. It's a brave new world out there, folks. Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll catch you on the next one.